All right, welcome to our Lighthouse Revolution Spotlight Chat. I'm Karen Gunton, and this is the Lighthouse Revolution. And these chats are meant to really just shine a light on some different strategies, different tools we can use to build our lighthouse. And you know, my philosophy is that you need to build your lighthouse your way. If you're building a business, you need to build your business your way. And whatever tools or strategies or ideas, you know, appeal to you and will help you, then they're worth giving a try and seeing how they work. And what appeals to one person might not appeal to anyone else, but really it's about building something that will allow you to shine your light. And that's what I wanted to chat about today here in this Illuminate Spotlight chat. We're going to focus a bit on business, but these ideas could easily be applied to building anything in your life, really. And I've got my new friend, Keri Norley, here to chat with us about manifesting business success. And she's got a few little tricks up her sleeve, like numerology and feng shui and all sorts of fun things that she does to help women in business manifest success. And I'm really excited to have her here. We met a few months ago at a wonderful conference called the Artful Business Conference. And I just love picking Keri's brain about all the stuff that she's into, because she's got just lots of really neat little tricks and ideas that I think could help any one of us if they suit us. So thank you so much, Keri, for joining us here today. Would you mind just introducing yourself and let us know a bit about the work that you do to help women in business?
Hi, Karen. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I am honored and excited to be here. And I too loved meeting you. I just want to start by saying that I think your Lighthouse Revolution is amazing. And helping people shine is like, for me, it actually goes straight into what I was going to say about introducing myself. I think where I'm at now in my business, I realize that not one of us can do this alone. You know, we all have to have our lighthouses, and we all have to come together and shine, because I think the world needs to be shaken up a little bit right now, and goodness needs to be sprinkled throughout it. And so the more lighthouses, or I would say the more leaders that we can create in order to bring the lighthouses, the amazingness into the world, the better. Because I think if we can all team up together and even do things like this where we help each other out to bring our messages to the world, then we have more power and more ability to make a difference in this world. So thank you, and thank you for doing what you do. So for me, about me, it is that right now. Like for me, it's a lot about helping to create leaders, helping people step into really being able to shine. And for me, it's about, in the leadership, it's about going, so it's all well and good to know what you want to do, but then there's all these shifts that have to happen inside. There's all these things that kind of blocks that happen externally, internally, on every level, let's be honest, that stop us from actually shining our light, from actually stepping up, from doing the work to really being leaders and really making a big impact on this planet. And so for me, it's the work that I'm stepping into is a lot of about how do we remove the blocks so that we can really step into who we are. And so like you said, I have some fun tricks and tips up my sleeve. For the last year, I've had a lot of focus around things like feng shui and numerology, because in the past I've been coaching for 10 years. And if I were to tell you everything I did in my coaching career, it would take the whole time. But when I did NLP work, it was very, very mindset focused, and I still use it. But for me, a lot of times it can get, I'll just say the difference that I liked about using feng shui versus only using NLP is that people often don't necessarily want to go straight into the depths of everything, or it can just be really easy. Like it's a really easy way to shift energy. There's no work to it. You just go, okay, this doesn't deserve to be here anymore. That goes there. And then all of a sudden something changes in your life. It doesn't have to be work. It can be really easy. And so that's what I love about things like feng shui and numerology, is that it removes those blocks in such a simple way. So with the feng shui, we look at the energy of the space around you, whether it's your home, your office, anything. People who I know, who I speak to, use it when they go to hotel rooms. I know when I travel and I see things, I pull pictures down off of shelves, off of walls sometimes. And the numerology is really fascinating because I use it with pricing, with your website, with if it's personal, if you're not in business, because I know some of the people you're talking to now aren't in business. It's amazing for your own personal journey. And I know some of the people you're working with now have got a lot of, like, they're in that conundrum of what am I going to do? So it really helps to sort out, like, what are you going to do in your life? I've used it with children who have one of the families I was working with, the son was really struggling to sleep and was really sick for quite a while, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And I did his numbers, and I said to him, is he on the top bunk? And they said yes. I said he should never be on the top bunk because his numbers say he needs to be stable and secure, and he will feel insecure. They put him down on the bottom bunk, problem solved.
Wow.
So it's cool. Like it goes into so many different areas of life, and so powerful and so easy to use. So that's why I love these tools to help you to, as you said, manifest. Because for me, it's all about, like, if you clear the blocks along the way, then things come to you easily. And so what manifesting really is like seeing your dreams and letting them come true. But when we put all these stopping points in the way, then the dreams don't come true. And often it's just an energetic stop that's saying, no, universe, I don't want it. But if you just remove that, then flow will happen, and it makes things just kind of easier. So that's me,
I
I
knew
guess.
that I knew you had to come and chat with us about this stuff, because I mean, everything that you said is exactly what we've been talking about in the Illuminate program, which is for women in business. And when we talk about building a lighthouse in general, like that whole idea that you actually need to do the work on yourself, and you need to take the steps to clear all that crap away in order to really shine your light in the world. And that's where the lighthouse came from as a symbol, because so many of us, sort of build this structure, build a business, and, and that's all it is. And if what we really want to do is that, be that leader and stand tall and shine bright and stand solid, without wobbling, then I think the lighthouse is such a good symbol for that, because it does bring to mind that you do need to do that work on yourself. And it also reminds me always that you need to do whatever it takes to clear all the crap away and deal with whatever is holding you back, exactly from what you said, reaching your dreams. So I just love that that you've kind of uncovered that same thing on your journey, that all that stuff really matters so much. And that it's as worthwhile doing that work as it is to do your sort of businessy work, around building a website, or, creating your products and services. There's all this other stuff that we also have to do as well. And so, so I'm so excited to chat with you about these things.
I think it's so interesting because I think the more that I've been in business, the more that I almost think it's more important to do the inner work. Like the strategy is so important, but somebody who knows strategy can very easily say, you do this, this, and this, and it can be done. Whereas the inner work is the thing. Like then there's often, I'm sure you find it, there's a lot of people who have these beautiful programs, these beautiful books, products, that are still sitting on a website not being sold, that are still sitting on a bookshelf not being sold, that are still sitting in their computer that they haven't even put onto the internet, right? And it's not because the product isn't there. It's not because the strategy doesn't work. It's because of us.
Yeah.
And so it's all well and good to actually have the most amazing strategy, which can be learned, but if we don't work on ourselves, then. And the other thing that I thought I'd add is that you actually said at the beginning that, being a lighthouse is all about making it work for you. And I think it's so important that, like I bring to this table here that we're talking about feng shui and numerology, but there's so much that goes into first of all, just that. But second of all, like there's so many ways to help clear the crap. It can be feng shui, numerology, crystals, Reiki, whatever, massage. Go do everything and anything that like lights you up to help you to remove the blocks, I guess.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why I wanted you to come around, because I think that you've got a couple of great tricks up your sleeve, like I said, some strategies to help people, and I wanted to pick your brain about that. But really in the end, it's about, just sometimes it's just enough to plant that seed of an idea that resonates to somebody, that they could say, oh, you know, I never thought that I could use that in my business. I might have thought about it for my home, or, you know, I've always kind of wondered about that and it's kind of appealed to me, but I just didn't know enough about it. And so I kind of see it as, you know, part of the work that we are doing, you know, building these lighthouses, is being able to walk around like with a tool belt, you know, with these little things in them. And whether you really get into them and you're like, oh my God, I'm all about numerology and that's, oh, you know, that's the thing, or whether you just pull out a couple of, you know, little tricks. Oh, you know, Keri taught me about this thing. I wonder if I could try it. And just having those things, I think, is so empowering, because then when you know that you've got a block, when you're thinking, okay, I got this thing I'm going to put out to the world, I got this message I want to share, and you can actually physically have that feeling like I just can't do it. And when you know that energy is there, you've got some tools in your tool belt that you can try. You throw anything at it, you know, whatever works for you. And yeah, that's why I wanted to chat with you. So maybe we could start out talking about feng shui. And I know that, you know, there's quite a lot to go into the whole feng shui thing, like with the different zones of the house. And I know there's a lot in there. But what I was hoping that you could do is maybe just give us sort of a bit of an idea of what feng shui does, but then, you know, something that we could go and do right now that might shift something. Just one, you know, just one little idea as an example. So so for anybody who, you know, wanted to give it a try, they could give it a try. And then if you wanted to really get back into it, we can come over and talk to you some more about it. Or, you know, people could always about using feng shui to create business abundance. So, you know, it could be that people know about it in their homes, but they've not really thought about how to apply it for business, or, you know, maybe even didn't realize it could be applied to business. So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, is if you had, like, you know, sort of get us started with something that you might just give us as a bit of advice if we came to you for a one-on-one.
Where do I begin? Okay, so feng shui in itself is... I
know it's a big thing. That's why I'm saying even just one little thing would help us.
Yeah, that's cool. So feng shui in and of itself is, like I said earlier, it's about how do you arrange the energy of a physical space for the most part. And what you were talking about is called the Bagua map. So
yes,
when you ever look up feng shui, because I'm sure people will now be like, oh, what is it? And go look more up. There's a few different methodologies of feng shui. I pick using the Bagua map because it's really simple. So for people who are like me, and many women, I'm probably not alone, that are totally directionally challenged. Yep, that's the Bagua map, thanks. There's ones that are called compass, and you have to be able to know the direction of the house and the direction and where it is. And I was like, nah, it's too confusing.
Too complicated.
You're not going to use it, so I don't go there. This works beautifully, and it's simple and easy. So that Bagua map helps you to know where the energy of everything is. So there's 9 squares. What would be helpful for you guys to know in business? So the things that I find that people want to know most about are why I wrote the book. It's about abundance. So how to use feng shui to create business abundance. Is abundance bringing more money in? Or abundance doesn't have to be money, but more, whatever abundance is for you. And relationships. And so I'm being called to tell you guys about setting up your desk.
Okay.
If that's interesting to you. Because it's not in the book. I'm like, oh, what's not in the book?
I can learn something new.
Yeah. So the Bagua map can be laid out anywhere. So the way that it works is it can be laid out in your house. It can be laid out on your land. It can be laid out in each room of your being in your office, whatever. So it can also be laid out on your desk. So the abundance corner is your back left corner. She's going to show the book. See it coming. And then your relationship corner is your far right corner of anything. So on your desk, she's showing it. On your desk, you see it? So when you look at your abundance corner, it's that far left one, and the relationship corner is your far right corner. So when you look at your desk, it's the same thing. Your far left corner, that when you're sitting down at your desk, is your abundance corner, and your far right corner is your relationship corner. So you want to make sure that you shouldn't look at my desk right now because it's not looking pretty. But you want to make our
desks together at the same time.
You can feng shui our desks together. It happens sometimes. So you want to make sure that you have things that are bringing abundance into your business on your left side. So actually in the book, I talk about your merchant ship. I think I talk about it. So I have my ship on the far left corner of my desk, and there's full of gold coins. And then I put it facing towards me so that the money is coming towards me, not directly at me, because then it would be like a, they call it like a poison dart. This is, so you want it kind of coming towards you, but not like it's gonna, you know, get you. So I have my abundant boat coming with all of my goods on it. I have my lucky bamboo. See, actually, this isn't my book, but it's just about where you put it. So I put my lucky bamboo on my desk to bring my luck in. I have a bunch of coins that are actually international because my business is international and I want to keep growing it internationally. So I have international coins. But for you, if you're an Aussie, like an Aussie-based business, or wherever you are, whatever country you are, you might just, and if you want to be national, then just maybe put some national coins if you feel. I also keep citrine on my desk. And it is all actually in my book, isn't it? And a three-legged toad. So they all live on my left corner of my desk to bring in abundance. On my right corner, I actually have a plant. And this is a fun trick for you, for your right corner. If you are wanting to bring somebody new, like a new joint venture, a new client, if you're looking to go start a new relationship for your business somehow, whatever that might look like, your relationship corner is where you want to work. So let's just say I wanted to have an interview with Karen Gunton because she's so cool. And she doesn't know I want to have an interview with her, but I want to make that happen. Then I might put a business card that had Karen's information, or I might have printed out a lighthouse that was in the corner, or I might just go on to, you know, like anywhere I know of Karen, she'll have her branding. Karen's like that. And I can print it out off the internet. So meaning, like, you don't have to wait for someone having someone's business card. You can find a way to represent whatever that is for you. And if it's not a specific person, I've had people use it for like the corporation or the concept of that person that you want to be working with. And you can put them in the far right corner. Sometimes I have my Ganesh at the table on my right corner. And so sometimes I give it to Ganesh. And then I say, I don't have to worry about it. You can. You can do that wearing for me. And that's my new one from Bali when I went to visit Tash. It's very exciting. But I had an older one there before. So yeah, so that is what you can do with your desk. And then you can just leave it there. But for me, when I use that tool, for example, I'm not the kind of person that would just say, okay, I'll leave it up to universe and not do anything about it, right? So realistically, I would contact you.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
Make it easy for the person to actually say, hey,
yes, I would like
work together.
You know, but you can just know that the energy knows then that you're focusing on, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And if you don't know the contact, but that's okay. Like, just let it evolve. I'm sure you can figure it out. But like, that's how I often work with that. It could also be like a client that you have contacted that you're kind of waiting. You know, those people that are like in limbo?
Yeah.
I know I really want to work with you. You're a really cool person. And they're like, I just need some time. You could put that there. Then maybe it would expedite that process. So that's how you can use some feng shui simply on your desk.
That's awesome. So I have a question. I'm just looking at the map right now. So if you wanted, you know, to get the word, spread your message and get the word out, you know, so that the right people hear it, would that be about the fame area?
Yes.
Or would that be more a relationship? Or does it matter? You just have that intent.
Yeah, it can be either. So sometimes, let me think. You could put it in the fame area. You could put it on the wall in front of you too. Like if there was something that you knew your message and you wanted to get it out there, you could put it on the wall in front of you. Because often our computers are in the fame area, in the center.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, for me, I wouldn't be putting it behind there because then it's like kind of blocking its.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it depends
that
on
makes
where
sense.
your computer is in relation to your desk. But if my computer is dead center, which is where the fame corner is, fame section is, so I wouldn't put something behind it, but I would put it on the wall above it.
Right. That makes sense. So you can see it and be reminded of that intention that you set.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. I love that. You know, this is why I need to talk to you, because I never even thought to use just your desktop as sort of with the 9 zones. You always think about how it has to be your whole house or the whole room, but
everything. So even for me in my bathroom, everything, every space, I look at it and I go, where is in relation to feng shui?
Yeah.
It can be like, you know, people ask me all the time, once it's done, is it done? No. It's like I could go and feng shui someone's house, and even I've had a mentor come feng shui my house, which is how I got into it. And I know feng shui, and I'm still doing it all the time, all the time. And like even just the other day, I was having a conversation with my husband, who is a massage therapist. So he's in business as well, and he's not object to the ebbs and flows of business. And so right now he was in a time that I was like, dude, I've not seen you this quiet in a long time. What's going on? And he's like, I don't know. So such a male. I don't know. I know. I'm like, what are you gonna do about it? He's like, I have no plan. I'm like, I know, because my husband hates marketing. God help me. He hates marketing. Like, oh God. So when I started learning all this energy stuff, like with feng shui and things, we made a very conscious decision. I was like, okay, well, if you're not going to do marketing because you hate it, and I'm not going to market your business anymore because I want to do my own, then you need to stay on top of your energy, your feng shui and all that kind of things. And he's like, okay. And so when I asked him what his plan was, he goes, I was like, okay, can you create a plan? And he goes, I'll go mow the lawn. And that's what he does. He goes and mows the lawn, and he makes sure that he clears out all of the sections of everything. And it's really, for him, it's like, okay, I'm going to create new beginnings. I'm going to cut out the weeds. I'm going to
clear out all the crap. Yeah.
And inevitably,
awesome.
when he's really like, when he's doing it with intention, he can get 2 to 3 people call in within that time, like within the hour. So afterwards, it's amazing. Yeah. So I think as well, like to be said, all of this, it's like the intention of what we do as well. You know, so all of this can be done over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And when we set the intention, because often we don't actually know if we get these, all of a sudden you get these spurts. And I know in business, like you all of a sudden be like, oh my God, all these things are really good. And then you go, oh, things are really shit. Oh, things are really good. And it's because like you're probably doing a lot of this stuff, but you don't even know that you're doing it. Yeah. Right. So when the intention is there, then you go, oh, I did this. And now look what happened. Oh, now I know I can do this again, because that might actually get the same result. Yeah. You know, and that's, I think, how a lot of this works. It's all these tiny little things. And then you can go, oh, so like it never has to be a big deal. Like I see it, I go, oh, you're quiet. What are you going to do? And it doesn't mean he has to go and have some major marketing thing. So he's like, okay, so I'll do that, and I'll go wash some windows this week. I said, okay.
You know what I love? Yeah, I love what you said about that. Like if you just realize, oh, things are slow, or you realize, oh, you know, I'm feeling stuck in some way. You know, you could just go and do something, whatever it is, out in the lawn or on your desk or in one room of the house. The thing I like about that is that sometimes like something like feng shui makes me feel a bit overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I gotta go do the whole house and every room, and then, you know, every room on its own, and then my desk, and what about my room, my bedroom, and, you know, my bathroom, oh my God. And that can feel kind of overwhelming. But just to say, you know what, I could just go do one thing. I could just go sit at my desk and just move some things there and set an intention for myself and just say, you know what, I give myself permission to actually go for this. And I'm going to set the intention that it matters, and then I'm going to go back to work, you know? So it's almost like a mindfulness thing, really. Totally. To say, I realize that things are stuck, and so I'm going to just do something to get out of that stuck space and get away from it.
Yeah, and without even knowing about feng shui, right? If we take this to a basic level and we take all of that out and we just think, so like I've talked about, mowing the lawn, right? Yeah. So one of the things that you can do is garden, right? There's a lot of people who love gardening, and people find it very therapeutic. But when you actually set the intention behind it, okay, so I'm going to plant seeds for new growth, which is what you're doing. But start having intention of, I'm planting seeds for new growth in my business. I'm weeding out, and often, like, you'll find it, right? Because it'll either be like you're stuck because you don't have growth, or there's so much yuck on top of all of the things that you're doing that you can't actually see what you want. Or the people that are coming to you often will be like, I mean, we've all had it, right? There's people who come into that are not quite right. And you're like, or there's people that are hanging on that are just holding you down. And so that's when you can go and do your weeding. You know, and you go, okay, I'm weeding out. And I did it once, and I was sitting, and it's not even your whole garden. Let me just be honest. Like you've said, you don't have to get that intense. Like I was sitting with my baby when he was a baby. We were sitting in our backyard, and there was this one section. It wasn't even the whole yard. It was like the back right corner, my relationship corner, right? And it's a small area, like where I was working, but it just needed stuff to come out, and it was around, like, we have a drainage square in the back, so it's not easy to mow around, so you need to kind of actually get in and do it. And so I was back there weeding it all out, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to weed out the people that are no longer serving me in my life. And it was so interesting because I went to the gym the next day, and at the time that I was at the gym, I was finding that I was helping a lot of people. Like I was almost like coaching a lot of people. And then all of a sudden it would be like, and I loved it, because that's, when we like to help people, we like to help people. But at the same time, when it would become time to talk about me, they'd be like, oh, I gotta run, or like I would hear it for like 2 seconds, but and I'd spend so much time helping them, and I was like, huh. And I didn't think about it until I walked in the next day, and like they were, they come in the gym, and you see one person here, you see one person the next day, you see, well, that day, like all the people that I normally see that are like that were all there, which is so unusual. And I looked at them, and I'm like, huh, you're all the weeds. I'm spending my time helping you, and you don't pay me. I just come to the gym, and you're taking my time. That's my time, right? And so it was such this like, oh, that's hilarious. Okay, and I let him go. And then the funniest thing is, like, I showed up at the gym, and I didn't see them for ages, or like they would be busy, or we'd cross paths, and be like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, of course you are, because I don't have time for you anymore. And then all of a sudden, clients started coming because this was the beginning of where I was paying. I was like, oh, how funny. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a big ordeal. It probably took me, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And so I think some of it is just that common sense. Like, think about what you're doing, even if you're cleaning your house. Like, what are you doing? And set an intention to it, and make it be an experience that helps you, that shifts energy versus
be mindful. I like that idea of not just doing things aimlessly, but being mindful about what you're doing and why. And one of the things I love about this, as you've been talking about it just really comes back to something that we've been learning about with the lighthouse as a symbol for what we're building. And the lighthouse tower teaches us that we really need to be mindful about what is in our space, what's in our tower, what's in our business, what's in our homes, what's in our, relationships. And, because you can end up with a whole lot of stuff in there that no longer serves you. And the idea of the tower is to remind us that what we're building here, what we're surrounding ourselves with, what we're doing, strategies we choose, all that stuff, our activities and how we live our life, all of that should really serve us, should help us to shine our light in the world. And so many times we end up with all the stuff that doesn't really, we do it because we should, we do it because that's what we've always done, so we keep doing it, we do it because someone told us to. And it's just the idea that when we think about building a lighthouse, with that tower should really be aligned, and it should be full of stuff that actually serves you and leverages who you are in the world and the light you have to shine. And that idea I always use of decluttering, like, throw the stuff out that doesn't serve you anymore. And feng shui is just such a perfect fit for that, because the idea that you're purposely going through your physical space and saying, what will help me to actually shine my light? What will help me to actually create this dream life that I want for myself, to get my word out about my business, to make new relationships, to get new clients, and what no longer serves me? And I think there's something so liberating about that idea of decluttering all the crap and just having what you need, and then making space for the new stuff to come along as well.
Exactly.
I could ask you about this one topic for like hours. So, but I'm mindful of our time, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I want this to be something that's easy for people to sort of get some bites out of. So I do want to ask you about numerology, because I know this is another area that you are got some expertise in, and I know we've had some neat conversations about numbers and pricing and that kind of stuff. And so same thing, you know, maybe you could give us a little idea, an introduction to the idea of numerology, and then how you might, you know, just try a couple of things in your own business right now to see if it creates some shifts in energy blocks.
Okay, so numerology is, well, I love them both. I love all of it, but there's some really cool stuff with numerology. And the way that it works is it's the energy of the number, but it's also the energy of letters. So letters equate to certain numbers, and then so both of them have an energy. And so that's what I was saying, you can do your websites. So your websites, emails, your birth name, all sorts of ways to look at numerology. And the one thing that I talk about, so I was always, when I talk about manifesting, it's like, how do you clear the blocks to allow people to come in? So because of the energy that it holds, if you have, for example, I've never looked up yours, a website that has a specific number, then it could be blocking an ease of access for people. If you have, I've talked to you about your bank accounts. If you have bank accounts with certain numbers, you could find that you have drainage happening. If you have certain numbers as websites, you might find there's an emotional roller coaster that happens. Like you can exacerbate the highs and lows of business. I'm not going to lie that it says, you know, we still are going to have that. It's business. It's alive. Like it doesn't disappear. But it can make them worse. So yeah, so things like that. So one of my clients, for example, it was actually quite funny. Her phone number came to like a, I don't know if it was self-sabotaging number or something that was, whatever, it was something like that, right? And I was like, you're gonna have to change your number, and if you want that energy to stop. And she ended up getting a phone call while I was there that was like the perfect example. This guy did exactly what the number was, like whatever that energy was. Like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but whatever that energy was, the guy calls and he goes, da, 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 and she goes, he just did that. I'm like, you might want to change your number. Right? And she had the same thing with an email address. And when we looked to shift her email address, the next thing, it was like she was getting a lot of, she called them tire kickers, like people who would contact her but didn't actually follow through, right? So she'd come in and be like, yeah, I'm really excited, and then they wouldn't actually decide to book in or make payment or whatever. And so, hold on one second. Hold on, sorry.
No problem. No, it's fine.
Demi, what happened? What happened?
While Keri's off the call for a moment, I'll just point out that she's got a great free Facebook group called Business Manifestors, and she's so genuine, you know, about her desire to really help people, and she's really generous with her knowledge and information. So if you you know, are interested in some of these tools that you could use to manifest success and want to join us over in that group, you're very welcome. I'll share the link so that everybody's got it. She's got some really fun little ideas that she shares over there, and she's kind of constantly encouraging everybody to keep thinking about what their big goals are and their big dreams and their why, and all of the things we talk about here in the Lighthouse Revolution and in the Illuminate program for women in business. And she really, you know, it's just so in alignment with stuff that we've been talking about. I'll also just, she's got her book on her website, which is kerinorley.com, how to feng shui, use feng shui to create business abundance. So you can find those things over at her website and join us. I was just telling everybody who's listening in just about your great free Facebook group for business manifestors, and just showed the cover of the book again. So I've sent everybody to go and check out your website so that they can find more stuff from you when they Need it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. I have my little one who's 3 who just fell and broke his leg earlier this week. So he's home with me today.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that happened, Keri. Goodness.
God love him. The sweet things. So he's home when he's supposed to be at daycare, and Daddy just left. And he's like, the TV stopped. So he's trying to come upstairs to the movie ended. He tried to come upstairs and he donked something, screaming at.
Oh my goodness.
Boys.
Goodness. You've got a lot going on right now.
All right. The joys of being, you know it, the joys of being a mom in business.
Yes.
Juggling.
And it's, you know, it's just life, isn't it? We just carry on.
So numerology. Okay. So, so her email. So what happened was that we changed the email address. And like within 24 hours, I think we changed the email address. And all of a sudden she started getting more clients that were not paying clients, that were actually paying clients. And between, she's a photographer, and between doing the feng shui and her numbers in her house, she wanted to go over to New York and do a photo shoot, do photo shoots and do speaking. And within 6 weeks, she knew no one, she's an Aussie. She knew no one there. And within 6 weeks, she was, maybe 8 weeks, she was in New York. She had 9 photo shoots, one of them being a Desperate Housewives woman.
Wow.
And she had 2 speaking gigs. Nothing else changed.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's just removing those things that get in the way from people, and the energy will always be there. And the thing that I love about all of this kind of stuff is that no matter where we are, it will always show up, you know? So like, I have things that come up all the time with it, with the feng shui, that you're like, how did that get away from me? Because that's where I am. It had to be there, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the numerology. So a tip that you guys can have about numerology. Do you want the bank account one, or do you want to do something else? Something else. I'm trying to think of one.
No, the bank account one is a good one.
Yeah. So bank accounts. Karen liked this one, that's why I asked. So with your bank accounts, the number, and actually it's a number that you can watch for in bank accounts and in pricing, is to come to a number 7. So when you do numerology, it's not about the 7 itself. So if we have, for example, a 17 for your pricing, right? And you have a 1 and a 7 in it. It's not that it has a 7 in it. It's the fact that it comes, you add 1 plus 7 equals 8.
Right.
And then that comes to an 8. So that's the number that we're looking at, is that final number.
Right.
Right? It goes on beyond that, but just to keep things simple.
Yeah.
We'll just look at that final number.
Yeah.
And so we don't want those numbers to come to a 7. So whether it's in your bank account or in your pricing. So this was so fascinating, because I've put it out there that I want to help some of the bigger marketers in the world, you know, who are making millions of dollars in doing this, and look at their pricing. And I've been talking to this guy who's very successful at marketing, definitely making high six figure incomes. And we were talking about his pricing recently, and I said to him, he gave me 2 different numbers, and I said, well, that one will be selling better, that one you'll have a delay, He's like, yeah, whenever I sell that price, people are like, oh, well, I can do it in a few months, or, oh, I could do this, or, oh, I could do that, but they don't sign up right away. I'm like, that's because the energy of the number. We had one that I was looking at, and he'd given me the full price at the discount, the full price when he put it up to a higher rate, and he was saying he sold it better at the higher rate. And so I looked at the numbers again. Yep, that one, even at the higher rate, that number was a better energy to use for sales than the other one. And then he had a payment plan, and it was interesting because his payment plan price came to a number that was all about delayed gratification. So interesting. Well, it's a payment plan, so it suits.
It's a payment plan, yeah.
Right? So you're going to have a delay in the payment. And so it's fine. I was like, you don't have to change it because that's the way you set it up.
Yeah, you know? It works perfectly.
So it works perfectly. But that's the kinds of things I look for when I'm looking at pricing. So the number that we were talking about is the 7, because the 7, and I don't want people to hate 7, because whenever I say this, people go off and like, no, 7's a bad number. The 7's not a bad It's a beautiful number, and it's a really spiritual, it's all about spiritual belief in yourself, knowledge, and it's a really lovely number. The opposite, so everything has, you know, that yin and yang, the goods and the bads. The opposite of the good in the 7 is the drainage. And so what we find is when you're not, because it won't always be drainage, right? But if you use that number for pricing, it could show up that, like I look at these in business, and I would say it could show up that you have a really great product, you're doing great with sales, but you had to spend a lot on Facebook ads. So your profit margin is as good. It could be that you sold it, but it was a really draining process for you. Doesn't have to be financial. It can be that it fully drained you, right? Energetically.
Right.
It could be like, I even laugh. I did this once. It was very funny that I did this. The first workshop I ever ran, I was just wanting to get people in the door. It was like, it wasn't for me to make money. It was for me to just give it a go, to set the whole program up, to give it a go. And I really just wanted it to be so easy for people to say yes. And I actually sold a 2.5-day business workshop for $250, which is ridiculously low. And ridiculously, right? Like I covered my costs. I didn't make money on it. And when I did it, I had even thought to myself, I'm gonna sell for $300. But for some strange and unknown reason on the night, I offered it for $250. The 4 or 5 people that I had in the room with me at this intro thing all said yes, of course, because who's going to say no to that? But I left going, oh my God, that's so funny. I didn't even go for the 300. I went for the 250 at the time, and it's a 7, and it comes to a draining number. Well, of course it's going to drain me to put that together. You know, like, of course. And so it didn't drain me financially. It covered my costs, but I didn't make money on it. And so that 7 number will always come to some way, somehow, that it will drain you.
Right. Now, what if you had done 300?
I still wouldn't have made money on it, let's be honest.
No, of course you wouldn't have. Would that have had a different energy?
I might have chosen to go out and get more. I don't know. But I didn't. But I just found it interesting that I sabotaged it to that, you know?
Yeah.
But even in that, I still didn't take the extra few $100. That might have actually given me a few $100 for the weekend, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's interesting.
That's interesting.
That's the way. That's the easy thing I will say is 7. So 7's in your bank accounts and 7's in your pricing are things to watch for. But again, not to look at it and go 7 is a bad number. It's just in those places. And I've had people who've gone, oh my God, they've heard these and they've come and had a numerology report with me. And they go, oh my God, Keri, I have 7s. I'm like, it's okay. You're not a prize. So yeah, that's that. Any questions about it? Make sense?
So when you're working with somebody and doing like a whole report for them, you'll look at all that stuff for them and give them some ideas.
So when I do a full report, it's about 18 to 20 pages. And I look at your everything. It's quite detailed. And I look at all of your birth stuff, so who you are. So things like sometimes, and I find this in business, I've talked to some people who will come up with numbers that have partnerships in them. And so I've all of a sudden then see them doing lots of partnerships because they should be. You should be doing partnerships in business. It doesn't mean that you have to be in a partnership.
Right.
Like this, right? Partnerships. Putting events on together. And so that will show up in their things because it could feel that they feel really alone and they're not supposed to be doing business alone. You know, so all that kind of stuff will show up in your report. Then I look at, and then also within all the personal stuff, I talk about like colors that you can be wearing, crystals, rooms to work with, issues that you might have in your body because of the numbers. And then I look at your business stuff, and we look at your website, your emails, your bank accounts, your business name, your address, all of it.
Wow, that's so cool.
It is cool.
So I'm gonna actually need you to write one of these for the numerology stuff.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming. Get on that.
It's coming. It's coming.
I want to read it all.
The one on pricing, actually, I've been called. Everybody's asking me to do a whole list of what every number is because, like I said, it's to keep it simple, stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not, yeah, it'll be, yeah. It's coming.
Okay.
After college.
I know, it's like, because you have so much free time on your hands, right?
It came up again yesterday, even with my husband. He's like, so when are you writing your next book? And I'm like, yeah, I'll put it up with the fact that I still have 60 prac hours to do for college. Just put it in that list.
Yeah. If I could download your brain somehow and just have it on the page, that makes me happy. Oh, that's so awesome. I just find little things like that are so cool. And honestly, just whatever kind of resonates with you, why not explore it and see if it makes a difference? Really.
Absolutely.
And I think it's the same kind of idea. It's like setting that intention that, you know, you're going to be more mindful of those sorts of things and how they could shift the energy in the work that you're doing. And really, it's about saying, I value my message enough. I value the work enough. I value my light enough that I want to do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to get that stuff out there and do the work.
It is all the little things. It's not going to be one big thing that ever does it for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's all the tiny little things that we do every single, and I think for me, it's every single day. It's not like you do it once and then you forget about it. It's like every day you do something. It doesn't have to be that like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be that it's feng shui, that every day you do something, you know, and even in that, like we were talking about, even in that setting the intention of it's your daily chores that you're doing and setting intention behind making that mindful. It's amazing what will happen.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to leave off asking you, just, I know you did mention at the beginning, this move in towards leadership. And I know that's been an evolution in your own business. And that's one of the big messages of the Lighthouse Revolution as well. And what we have been talking about in the Illuminate coaching program is that, of course, as you go on this journey, we grow and we evolve, and our business should also evolve with that so that we can still feel aligned. And I really love the fact that you are in this journey as well, and you're seeing that unfold for yourself as well. So this leadership space is been sort of more recent for you to move into, but I just wanted to ask you, as you're going through this, if there's maybe one thought that you would leave us with, is for all of our Illuminate members and anyone who's watching today who are stepping into this space of standing out and being a leader in a field and possibly being a trailblazer. And we've said obviously that you need to do the work, the inner work, in order to be able to do that. But if you sort of had one thing that you're quite passionate about in that area, one sort of final thought that you wanted to leave us with today.
Yeah, I can do that. So I think for me, with where I'm standing within leadership and in that same thought in the inner work, is that you have to know it. So this year, this training I'm doing, it's a full diploma in leadership and expressive arts. It's basically how do you create group transformation in leadership, using expression and going through a whole lot of different amazing processes. And it's really about, I use the word embodying, not sure if anybody understands it, but really about embodying the way that we show up as leaders. So how do we feel? How do we take it on board? And how do we move through all of the stuff that leadership brings us, right? So we talk about how do you, we've been talking about like, how do you show, like, how do you uncover these blocks and how do you do this? But first, before you can uncover anything, I think it's so important to know what it feels like to begin with, right? Because in business, as we grow, we get these funny feelings that happen. We get these waves, these roller coasters, all of this stuff. And that's the stuff we have to pay attention to, right? That's the stuff that we talk about when we're moving through something. It's like, you're not moving through like you're moving through air, but you're moving through something that's happening in your body, right? So in order to push through the level in your business, when you decide that you're going to launch a new program, then all of a sudden there's going to be something. There's going to be the jitters. There's going to be all that stuff that builds up in your body that we literally physically have to move through, right? And so we get a lot of signs about it, but for the fact is that most of us don't know what they are. And so then we just put it into, I'm just scared shitless. And then we go into, a lot of us go into freeze, right? because we think that we're actually scared, or we think that we're this or this, but we don't actually know because we haven't actually checked inside. And so for me, I think what I'm kind of at the moment just like wanting to share with every single person on the planet is that in order to actually know how to move through things is you have to know what it is first. And it doesn't have to have a meaning or like a word, right? Because it might not be that you're scared. It could just be that, oh, here's those butterflies again. Got it. That means that I'm on a big step right now and I need to move forward. Am I ready to move forward, or am I going to stay in the butterflies? And then you make a conscious choice, right? Oh, here's those jitters. They're over there on my shoulder this time. I got those. Yep, I know what those mean now. And it doesn't even have to be that I'm scared, that I'm happy, that I'm excited, that I'm worried. It's just that, because they're all signs to you happening all the time inside of us. And in order to actually move through them, to go past it, to go forward, to have a new thing happen, you have to know what it is that you're coming through. And most of us try and move through stuff that we don't even know what it is that we're moving through. And then we just go crazy. Like, honestly, that's when that crazy hits, and then you just go panic, or you go freak out, or we just go back into our cave, or we cry, or we want to give up, all of that stuff. But it doesn't have to be that way. I don't think. Like, it doesn't have to sit in that, because a lot of people sit, and I watch a lot of it, and I just see now how much people sit in it for a long time and let it swallow them, and it's so important that if you can just start to get to know it. And so I guess the tip for that is just to start paying attention. Like, you have that, and it'll show up every day. There's going to be something all day long. There's new feelings that happen inside. The happy one, the sad one, the cranky one, the I'm going to scream at my children one, and they all have something slightly different attached to it. And so just start to like notice. That's it. Just pay attention and don't judge it. Don't anything. Just notice, so that when it starts to come again, you can be aware. There's that thing. What am I going to do with it?
Oh my gosh. I love that. That is really powerful. And I think that's the exact right word, isn't it? Embody. That energy, because we do feel things in our body, but I think we get so far away from what those feelings mean. We just kind of forget, in our journey, and like you said, we try to make sense of them and put a label on them, but maybe there isn't even a word for some of that really soul purposey stuff that really, like you said, the butterflies or whatever that feeling is. I love that. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think it's important that you just get to be aware of it, because you can have butterflies that are freaked out butterflies, and you can have butterflies that are excited butterflies. And they're going to feel a little bit different. You know, when you really check in with that, you go, yeah, I'm a little bit freaked out, but really, I'm just freaking excited.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit different than the one that feels like I'm totally freaked out. And then you can go and be like, yeah, I'm going to go embrace that excited. And then the freaked out, you can be like, okay, what am I actually really freaked out about? And you can talk to that. Right? But unless you know, you don't know.
And even that feeling of safety that we get, when we choose the safe thing or the comfy thing, or we choose to stay in that sort of stuck place because the alternative feels so unknown. Even just knowing that feeling compared to that unknown, I think is really amazing. That's really cool. I love that idea. And I think the thing is, I was trying to say before, is I sort of feel like we are so far out of our physical bodies sometimes. Like, we live in here, and we sometimes live in our hearts, and we live in our brains, and we are, trying to make sense of the world. But I don't know that I really know that sort of physical feeling all the time. I'm starting to know it again, but that's very interesting.
Because your body always knows.
Yeah.
And if you just listen, then your body always knows.
Yeah.
It's so smart, our bodies. And I think the other thing to really be mindful of as you do it is to not judge it, because there's nothing to judge about it. And you can't.
It just is.
It just is. And it's your body's way of telling you what's going on. You just got to pay attention, And I've even found in talking to my kids about it, like looking at it differently, because my little one, whose leg is broken, he's quite a intense child. And it's even just talking to him about it, like, you're not even putting words into his mouth anymore. Hey, are you feeling some crazy stuff happening inside? Yeah, Mom. Well, where is it? And having him to start to look at it, where is it? Where are you feeling that? Well, it's right here, Mom, because they know. They're not unattached from it, Oh, it's right here. Well, is it big or is it small? Oh, it's kind of small. Well, what does it feel like? Can you tell me? And it's really interesting, because it gets them to be like, okay, what is it in my body? because
Yeah.
they don't know. They don't know. They just know that they feel something that they don't know what to do with. You know, and it's the same as us. We don't know. We just know that we're feeling something, but we don't actually know what to do with it because we don't actually know what it is. And no one can tell you what it is, only you.
Yeah. I was saying before, I often will feel like a physical sensation of a wall if I know, even though in my head I know I want to do this, I want to say this, I want to share this, I have this idea, and I'll be really excited about it, and I'm usually a pretty big action taker. But sometimes I just, even though all of that is totally like lights me up, I have this physical sensation that there's an actual wall there that I just can't take that step forward. And that's over like the last 18 months of kind of exploring some of this inner work stuff, I now recognize that feeling as being sort of the energy block. And so then I know now that I can go off and do something like do some feng shui or do some EFT or go get a Reiki or whatever, like whatever I'm experimenting with and trying, just throw something at it, go do art therapy, go talk to somebody about it. But whereas before, I think I would have just stayed in that safe place instead. I just been like, oh, I had this idea, and I wouldn't even recognize it. I just kind of let it fall away. But now I actually can recognize the reason that I let it fall away is because of that sort of feeling of this wall.
Beautiful.
So that makes sense. That really clicks in my head about that idea of embodying that energy and getting to know it again, kind of getting back into your body again and just trusting those different sensations.
Beautiful way of saying it. Thanks.
I love it. That's so cool. See, I'm so glad I asked you for one more thing because that is really cool. That's everything you shared. I've just so much to think about, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come here and chat with me today and in the Spotlight Q&A and sharing those little tips and ideas. I think you and I both are sort of on the same page with a lot of things, so it's always so fun to chat with people who see the world in a similar way and are on a similar journey, actually. Going through all of this stuff as we are here, we show up to do the work in the world that we're called to do. So thank you again. Can you just say one more time what your website is so that people can come and find you?
Yep, my website is Keri Norley, KeriNorley.com, and I'd love to see you up there.
Perfect. And as I mentioned, Keri's got a great Facebook group for business manifestors that you can come and hang out in and chat some more about these things.
Yeah, Business Manifestors Club.
Yeah, the Business Manifestors Club. So if you search for that on Facebook, you should find that group, and it's a closed group, but you can just be added to it, correct? You just click join and come hang out with us. Keri does some really fun things in there that are quite different, actually, I find, from other groups that I'm in. Some different kinds of challenges and ways that she's pushing us to really step into this space of leadership. So thank you. Do join us there. And for anybody else who is listening, who isn't already in the Lighthouse Revolution group, that's on Facebook as well. And we're hanging out there chatting about all of these different things, the inner work, the outer work, and the work that needs to be done so that we can show up and shine our light in the world. So thank you so much for hanging out today, Keri. It's been so awesome to pick your brain. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I've always loved spending time with you.
Yay. Perfect. Well, we'll chat soon.
See you, Karen.
Bye.
Bye.